Hi there, everyone. My name is Christian Eschbach, and welcome to another one of my album reviews. And this is the review for the Faculty soundtrack. This is the third part in a triple shot of soundtracks. The last two I covered were The Commitments, and that soundtrack, well, a proper soundtrack, a bunch of individual songs by different artists. They were actually performed by one group that was the core of the movie. One could argue it was more of a musical and less of a movie with a great soundtrack, whereas this is more of your classic soundtrack. This is what they would call a radio soundtrack for a movie, which is when they take a bunch of songs from a bunch of different artists. A lot of times they tend to be either popular songs or one hit wonders, or in the case of some albums, they're covers of songs. Instead of going with the original artist, they wanted something that would hold up or be great for the modern generation, which I'll get into as I go here. And this, I'm not even going to talk about the movie. This soundtrack is really cool, and I actually picked up this soundtrack not for the original music that is on it, but I picked up this soundtrack for the covers that were on it because I really wanted to check out the covers. And there's some other cool songs that are actually on here as I go. Some of them I know the songs, some of them I don't. Some I don't know if they were specifically for this album, if they were off for other albums because I don't know enough about the artists. I haven't paid enough attention to them or whatnot. I am going to do my best to cover this as I go here, hopefully. We'll see. So, Another Brick in the Wall, Part 2, is how this opens up the Pink Floyd classic. But it is not performed by Pink Floyd, it is performed by the supergroup Class of 99. Basically, I think it was just a bunch of guys got together in the studio and recorded this for the soundtrack, possibly at the request of someone in the industry or whatnot. I can't say for sure. Class of 99, though, check this out. We're talking Lane Staley of Alice in Chains, former. Tom Morello, Rage Against the Machine. Also, Audio Slave. Stephen Perkins, Jane's Addiction. I'm not a Jane's Addiction person. I know nothing about them. I do apologize, really. So, eventually, one day, I know I will get to some Jane's Addiction. I do know a little bit, but I don't know anything about the band. Basically, I think I know the vocalist's name if if it's brought up in conversation, kind of thing. But that's about it. Uh, sorry. Back to this. Martin Lenoble of Porno for Pyros, same thing. And I know Porno for Pyros was related somehow to Jane's Addiction as well at one time. I can't remember everything on that one. And Matt Serletic of Matchbox 20, who is on keyboards. Jane's Addiction dude, Steve Perkins was drummer, and Martin Lenoble from Porno for Pyros was the bassist. So Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. Now, I don't know if these guys rehearsed it together or not, but it definitely sounds like they rehearsed it together. It definitely sounds like it was actually practiced and put together, and it's a great song. Apparently, as I'm reading here, I guess this is notable as this is actually the last appearance in the studio of Staley before his overdose in 2002, which means he went 4 years without being in the studio. That's kind of a shame in its own little way, but the man was fighting some demons, right? So, what are you going to do? I might actually get around to doing some Alice in Chains. I do have some Alice in Chains. Uh, Recently picked up a little bit extra through picking up some CDs from friends. But anyways, I'm going off topic. So I actually really dig this cover. I think it's really good. I think it's really well put together. And it has a great sound for that time. It really has that 1998 sound, which is kind of dark and thick. And, it's got that ominous kind of vibe to it. Even though there's so much grunge in there, it's not grungy. It's really that's actually really good considering. I mean, I'm not a Rage Against the Machine fan. I don't mind Audio Slave, but I wouldn't call myself a fan. I don't mind Alice in Chains, but I wouldn't call myself a fan. Jane's Addiction, Porno for Pyros, same thing. Matchbox 20, that's one of those bands that I've been known to make fun of more than, enjoy. So, really, for all these guys coming from bands that I'm not really, you could argue that they were maybe, I want to say some of the best parts to come out of the bands. And we'll say that because Lane Staley was not the best part of Alice in Chains. Let's be clear. Lane, once again, but Cantrell, man. Okay, let's move on. Then we get to The Offspring, The Kids Ain't Alright. I actually really like this song. The Offspring is one of those bands I really think I got to get around to buying some stuff from. Oddly enough, I own nothing from The Offspring. And the reason I own nothing from The Offspring is purely due to the fact that they're one of those bands that's kind of fun, but they're one of those bands that are kind of, I don't want to say a joke, but because they're a fun band, they tend to get written off a little bit as a joke band, even though they are really good musicians. And every time I've listened to them, I've really enjoyed them. Now, I know that this song, because I'm checking as I go, is from their 98 album Americana. And that's why albums like the soundtracks like this get called radio tracks. Because the actual album is from the same time as this, so I don't know 100% for sure what would have been first. I'm guessing Americana might have been first. There might have been a planned release together. I know there is a video for the song for The Kids Aren't Alright, and the video is actually really cool. I really dig the song though, and really I feel bad that I've neglected The Offspring the way I have. Next up, we got Creed performing I'm 18. This is a cover of the Alice Cooper classic. And I'm going to apologize to my friend Sean in advance because there's an in-house joke, which I'm now going to talk about, where I had this playing I had a version of 18 playing, and Sean, I think it was the Alice version playing, and Sean's like, oh, Alice Cooper doing a cover of 18, and I kind of looked at him and I went, what? Because he thought that Creed originally did 18, and it was just one of those great joke moments, and sorry, had to bring that one up, Sean. Now, I understand why, though, because Sean is a karaoke guy, and I'm a karaoke guy, and the best variation actually to karaoke of I'm 18 for the longest time was based off of the Creed rendition, not the Alice Cooper rendition. So I get it. And this version is really good. I'm not a fan of Creed. It'll probably be a while before you hear a Creed review. It could happen, but it'll be a while. Because I'm not a fan. But this version is really good. Very faithful to the original, very tastefully done. Very nice. Next up after that is the song Helpless by Degeneration. They are a glam rock band that formed in 91. They released 3 albums, several EPs. I'm reading this off the internet. I really know nothing about them. And there is really no information on the song Helpless, so I don't have any idea about that. Possibly an original for this soundtrack, I'm not sure. A toss away track, who knows? Net previously unreleased track. Either way, good tune. It's not bad. It's kind of got a bit of a punk vibe to it, but commercially punk vibe, definitely. More of that kind of, I don't want to say Green Day, and it's I would want to say Blink 82 or Blink 182 or Sum 41, but it would have been before either of those bands got big. So, but it would have been right around the time those bands were coming out and starting to make names for themselves. So it's, you can go either way with that, I guess. All right. Now I should have mentioned Another Brick in the Wall Part Two and Creed's I'm 18 were definitely, believe it or not, the two big drivers on me picking this up because I wanted to really hear what they did with those versions. There is one Alice Cooper song that, other than 18 actually, that has been covered to death, and that is School's Out. Now, I have covered 18 to death. I don't like playing 18 anymore. I really don't. I've been asked to, once in a while I get asked to do it. I will do it under those conditions, under very specific conditions. Once in a while if I'm in a really good mood. I don't like doing it anymore. School's Out, I have never covered. I kind of wouldn't mind, but I kind of haven't because I actually took the time once to go through and see which of Alice Cooper's songs were covered the most, and School's Out was really high up there. Only Women Bleed would have been next. But School's Out is done by Soul Asylum. Now, Soul Asylum is definitely one of those bands. Once again, you probably are not going to hear me doing a song where or talking about any albums from Soul Asylum anytime in the near future. I should though, because this cover of School's Out on here is actually really good. You know, I mean, I really appreciated both songs back when this was released. Okay, and that's as a hardcore Alice Cooper fan. I really appreciated both these songs when they were released, and I thought they were both really good renditions. When I look back on it years later, okay, decades, same album I've had for decades. The cover of 18, it feels a little more dated. It has that Creed sound. It has that Creed sound. So it has that time period sound. So it feels very dated that way. The Soul Asylum cover of School's Out, though, really kind of holds up and really doesn't have a dated sound or vibe to it. It really kind of has this good vibe that carries forward. And much like the original song, is kind of almost timeless, you know? Really nice. Cherry. After that, we get into Garbage's Medication. Once again, Garbage is a band I have neglected. I do have an appreciation for Garbage, not a huge appreciation. They're definitely a band where I should own more than I own from them, which is to say, I don't own any Garbage albums that I'm aware of. So I don't know with Medication if it is off one of their albums or if it was a throwaway track or whatnot. I didn't even know when. I do remember when this album came out and I picked it up, I was surprised that there was a Garbage track on it because I didn't realize that Garbage was still, I hate to say it, but I didn't realize Garbage was still relevant at that point. I always think of Garbage as being more early 90s, mid 90s at the absolute latest. I never think of them being much past like 95, 96 for some reason. Much respect to Shirley Manson and the band, but Shirley Manson, even as an actress, is fantastic. I loved her in the Sarah Connor Chronicles, man. Great actress there. I really dig Medication on here. I really like it. It's one of the songs on here I really do get into. I like listening to this album just every now and then, throwing it on. It's a great album to listen to. And the flow on here is really good and it works really well as well because Medication does slow it down quite a bit after School's Out. But it's the right type of slowdown. It's the type of slowdown you want, you know? Then you get to Stabbing Westward's Haunting Me. And this one here is specifically for the soundtrack, apparently. Um, I'm able to pull up that information on it, so that's cool. And Haunting Me is a decent song. I'm not a Stabbing Westward fan. They're definitely a music from a time period, and they're a very specific type of music. Stabbing Westward belongs in there, I believe, with, I guess, Filter would be another one. I want to say maybe Prong. There's a few other bands in there. I want to say that belong in there, kind of with that same vibe, that element, that metal, but not quite metal, but not definitely not industrial, but kind of more definitely feels. I don't know. I want to say process, but it doesn't really. It's hard to say. But it's a cool tune. It is a cool tune. Even Nine Inch Nails, I guess. So I guess maybe, but not like Marilyn Manson or Rob Zombie. Not that way. More the other way. Nine Inch Nails is definitely a good comparison, I would say as well. Yeah. Okay. Um, Maybe Someday, Flick. I know nothing about Flick, and I know nothing about the song Maybe Someday. It says that was a bonus track, not in the film. Okay. Then we got Sheryl Crow doing Resuscitation. Once again, another song I don't have details about. Sheryl Crow, I actually did own the Tuesday Night Club whatever album, that first one there when it first came out. I listened to it for a while, and eventually I got rid of the album. Sheryl Crow, I wish I would have maybe kept it, along with one or two other ones, for the sake of my daughter. My daughter, I think, would have really dug it a lot more when she was getting into guitar, because my daughter does a lot of acoustic guitar while singing, and it would have been cool. I think it would have helped my daughter out with learning some of that stuff, and not having it may have hurt a little bit. Resuscitation is the reason why I'm going to say that, because it's actually a pretty cool tune, and when I listen to this, Sheryl Crow actually, I always thought she did have a decent voice. I liked her voice, which is why I did pick up the first album. And the musicianship was there, and it was really cool as well. I don't know why I fell out with Sheryl Crow. I think it was just because it started all becoming the same pop kind of singles over and over again, or whatnot. I'm not 100% sure. Or it's just I was getting way heavier into music. Or way heavier into heavier music, so that might have been a big driver as well. Um, but I like the kind of country folksy kind of fun vibe of Resuscitation. I think it's a good tune, and I like it on this album. I like it as something different in the mix. I believe it or not, I put this album on, and this is not a song I would go to skip, even though it is really so different compared to most of this album. Next is It's Over Now by Neve. This is one of those songs I feel like it was everywhere, but they released one album, and I don't have the track list here. This song was everywhere though. I know it was everywhere for a while, and it's not a bad song, but it's a song that was definitely, that once again goes back to that kind of Blink 182, not Sum 41. Sum 41 it would have been too heavy for this. More Blink 182 though, for sure with this. There's another band from that time period I'm trying to think of as well. But not my type of music. Then we got Sean Mullins. Forgot about this cover. Oh, okay. That says something as well at the same time. So we got Sean Mullins doing Changes. This is the legendary Changes by David Bowie. Now, this is not the same as the Bowie Changes. It doesn't try to be the same as the Bowie Changes. It's definitely got a different vibe to it. It's got a... When I look at a quick thing on the computer, it says the dude's from Atlanta. It's kind of, I want to say that it's kind of got that southern U.S., I almost want to say Tennessee kind of vibe mixed into it, but not country. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, there's something with that region, with the way the music sounds from that region, and it's got that kind of sound to it. And it's a good tune. It's not bad. It's not bad. Then we got Stay Young from Oasis. I don't like Oasis. I really don't like Oasis. And Stay Young is, yeah, it's an Oasis song, and yeah. And then we got, the album finishes off with Another Brick in the Wall. It says Another Brick in the Wall Part 1 on the internet, but here it just says Another Brick in the Wall. It's not Another Brick in the Wall Part 1. As I was saying, it's not Another Brick in the Wall Part 1. It's actually just an instrumental kind of jam of Another Brick in the Wall. There's no vocals on it at all. It's really cool. I like the way it plays. I like the way they go through it. I like how it's a little bit, it's not just the music from Another Brick in the Wall Part 2 recycled without lyrics. There are some differences in it, not huge, but some. The whole way around, I still very much enjoy this album, and I still like throwing it in. I know there's a few tracks in there I just kind of but when I'm playing it through, I don't mind that they're on there. Even the Oasis track, I do not like Oasis, but even the Oasis track, I don't mind. It's okay, it's enjoyable while the album's playing enough to get through it. I probably like the soundtrack more than I like the movie, but I did actually enjoy this movie. I still do enjoy the movie. It was a great fun, uh, almost B movie. You know, it's a great pod people movie update kind of thing, right? So those are my thoughts. Those are my views. Tell me your thoughts or views. If you want to talk the movie, we can talk the movie. If you want to talk just the music, let's just talk the music. That's what the comment section is for. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. There is a link to Patreon below. Other than that, peace, love, and take care.